Bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in my comments fighting for their life. I'm lit.
There is no denying that Jim Jones and Nas have a complicated past.
Man, I'm gonna smack that f***ing kufi off your f***ing head, man.
However, I'm not sure what motivated Jim Jones to think he's on par with Nas in any way.
The Nas and saying that you got...
Analogy: Jim Jones versus Nas. There is no comparison here. This isn't even a serious topic to have all of my East Coast and New York subscribers, am I right? Please let me know that I am a one-man show. I record, edit, and make the thumbnail for every video, thus, clicking like and subscribe really helps. Thank you very much. Returning to the video, let's resolve this.
Remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. Nas was my idol when I was young. Like, you dig? We talking about 94. I was in 11th grade. Nigga, it's 2025. Big gap there, you know what I mean? Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old.
The notion that Jim Jones thinks he connects with 20-year-olds and that he is so much younger than Nas and that he appeals to this demographic while Nas doesn't is absurd. I thus checked their ages. Jim Jones is 48 and Nas is 51. He will turn 49 next month. According to Jim Jones, I was in the 11th grade when Nas's first record came out. Note that Illmatic was the release date of Nas's debut album. He composed much of it when he was 16 or 17. Jim Jones is attempting to portray this as something like Nas is a lot older than I am. The younger, 20-year-old crowd plays with me and connects with me in the same way that I did with Nas. I have no idea who Jim Jones believes him to be. Apart from record quality, we haven't even discussed which of Jim Jones's and Nas's songs is superior yet. The notion that someone in their 20s or so grew up listening to Jim Jones's music. For this to even make sense, the individual would need to be in their 20s, like 28 or 29. The good news is that you are almost the same age. You and Nas shared the same age bracket. You guys aren't really clicking. Neither of your songs really resonates with the younger audience in that way. Because Nas's music is simply more identifiable, the younger audience is probably going to connect with it more. You'll hear it on the soundtracks of movies. It will be heard in video games. His timeless records have endured throughout the years. When I learned that Fat Joe was launching a podcast, I knew there would be a ton of stupidity. Sad, but I didn't anticipate it being this severe. These youngsters adore me, but they have no idea who Nas is. If he's 22 years old, he was born in 2003. Okay? Thus, why would they be aware of Jim Jones' identity if they were 22? What does Jim Jones believe himself to be? He believes he has a ton of albums and songs that appeal to 22-year-olds. He's behaving like he's not Nas's age, even though they are really close. He's also acting as though his music is just appealing to younger people. However, I initially believed he was saying 25, but now he is talking about 22. These guys are listening to NBA if you're 22. Lil Durk and the Young Boy. You have nothing to do with that man, Jim Jones. If you ask a 22-year-old what name in rap sounds more familiar, on a scale of probability, Jim Jones or Nas, they're going to say Nas, bro. On the balance of probabilities, I would say in hip-hop, Nas is a renowned solo performer. Jim Jones isn't. Some of Nas's tracks have endured over time. As a solo performer, Jim Jones.
My son can't tell you one Nas record.
My son is unable to name a single Nas record. My boys are unable to name a single Nas record. That you're not doing your duty of introducing your sons to the music if they can't name even one Nas song. My parents introduced me to a lot of music that is older than I am. I'm familiar with the Angie Stone. I am familiar with Earth, Wind and Fire. I am familiar with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 because my parents played their music. As well as hip-hop. Before I was born, I am also familiar with the EPMDs and the Impoverished, Morally Upright Instructors because my parents placed me on these songs, dude. As if they had played them, your children are unable to identify a single Nas song. That speaks more to who you are.
Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums.
Alright, so Jim Jones' record went platinum. I have at least one hustler. This album features the song We Fly High Balling. Contrast it with Nas. 3 times platinum, twice platinum, and twice platinum platinum platinum, we receive some gold. Like, man, come on.
Track record. Then check everybody else's track record.
Thus, I suppose it's the New York issue. Jim Jones's stats versus Nas's stats, where it seems that yelling loudly doesn't make you any more correct. Let's view the statistics now. These statistics were posted by someone. Please feel free to check me in the comments if these statistics are inaccurate. Hot submissions on billboards, Nas has more than 15. 2 of Jim Jones' albums are platinum. Jim Jones has none, according to this, and I'm not sure whether this record is platinum. Nas has 8. P&I, Hustlers. However, I'll simply hand it to Jim Jones, okay? In the first week, it sold 106,000, so we'll just give it to him, okay? Because he claims to have platinum and gold albums. I'm not sure where. Individual albums, Jones, feel free to return the clap. Tell us which of your solo albums have achieved platinum and gold status, brother, there is no comparison. Such as your numbers compared to Nas's. Be a true man.
To the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Let's visit Billboard.com. There Nas, Jim Jones versus Billboard entries. Billboard entries were not accepted. He received 27 songs, Hot 100 Billboard. There are 2 brothers for Jim Jones. There is no way to compare Jim Jones to Nas. Jim Jones doesn't rank in the top 5, not all of hip-hop's top 5, not among the top 5 male rappers. Not among the top 5, Jim Jones is not among the top 5. Harlem or New York. However, he spoke with his chest at AS if he knew he was correct.
Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
no, let's go sit.
I want to give a shout out to my New Yorkers, but here's the thing, we will get boisterous and agitated. You remain incorrect, even if you perform all the rapper hands you know, you're still incorrect because, in the end, I think we're speaking French. Jadakiss appears to be saying, I don't feel that way at all. The data support that. Allow me to take the lead. Jadakiss talks to the 4. Come on, Jadakiss, you need to make some sense of this.
Hip-hop, we don't pay enough homage to those before us the correct way.
As a result, nobody will check Jim Jones's assertions. Hey, this podcast is a complete waste. Are you going to allow Jim Jones to do this? Based on the fundamental facts and the fact that your name isn't even included with Nas, no one will check. Jim Jones. Regardless of the stats, don't consider the sales numbers. You are not comparable to Nas. Nobody is going to step forward and do it. You will all just be friends and comrades. This should have been discussed offline between you two. This is irresponsible, man. Don't upload it on YouTube. LeBron is joined on the phone by John Moore. It is true that you are not John Moore. You're Udonis Haslam, buddy. If you're talking about LeBron and the analogy is that I'm LeBron and Jim Jones is the younger man, John Morant. Be truthful, yet act as though you were all the same age.
Any of that shit is murder.
This is what you putting me up against anybody. I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Supposed to.
Nas, you must pay respect. You must honor him, dude. This is fantastic from your state and area. You must honor him, guy. Accordingly, Jim Jones would say, Yo Kane, are you or Biggie? Jim Jones claims that he will say, no, I'm superior to Biggie man.
I'm gonna be mad at you because you're really friends with him.
He gonna be mad at you.
Not me, I don't know.
This explains why it is just not fun to watch media content from industry guys to BY industry guys. I mean all kinds of industry guys, including rappers, journalists, and those with ties to this team and that squad. Because you'll never learn the whole truth about some things. It's not fascinating. You won't receive an honest response if they won't share their thoughts with you about matters unrelated to their relationships and something comes up about someone they may know or do business with. That's what we got here. These men are buddies with both Jim Jones and Nas, and as you can see, they're attempting to fill in for Nas without upsetting Jim Jones. They don't even have a discussion, dude. Fat Joe is simply expressing, I don't want to go there. 3 New Yorkers are seated here, and you're allowing Jim Jones to enter this room and discuss how he can compete with Nas in any field. What is the topic of our conversation? Jim Jones challenged you all. Jada and Jim Jones. To view the statistics, click Get This BS Off. Open the entries on the billboard. I'll display the entries on the billboard. Jim Jones, you are listed on the Billboard Hot 100 twice. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. We won't take anything away from you, but you're mentioning pulling up my Billboard entries before pulling up Nas's. Alright, this is Nas's 27. He is discussing any category, and there is no comparison. Yo, I put myself against Nas in any category, Jim Jones said. Okay, let's get started. Jim Jones, you're not quite as good as Nas in terms of lyrics. Regarding albums, you don't have any classics. We grant you diplomatic immunity, so feel free to count the dipping set things if you'd like. That's your classic. Nas has a lot of Illmatic masterpieces. Matic is still in place. It was composed by Nas's Got Classics. There are songs by Nas that have benefited individuals. You know what the heck you're doing over there. This stupid bird gang isn't the only one. Nas has songs that have benefited people. I am aware that I am capable of being anything I choose to be. Nas has some songs that have educated and opened people's minds to the lies that history has told, but I'm as smart as the old Jim Jones in that he doesn't have any noteworthy songs like that. We haven't even had poetic conversations, so it's not even a question, guy. Lyrically, with 90% of all rappers in history, Oz is sweeping the floor.
False prophets is not messiahs. You don't know how high the sky is, the square mileage of earth or what pi is.
I expected Jadakiss to step in and be the voice of reason when I saw that Fat Joe was producing a podcast, but this is another reason why it is uninteresting to watch these industry guys, not just rappers, but people in the industry who already have connections. Nobody will speak up since they don't want to damage their connections or appear talkative in any way. You chose the wrong job, though. If you're not going to call something out, why are you seated in front of a camera and microphones? This is terrible. The analogous right of the West Coast. This is comparable to Glasses Malone declaring, hey, I'm way better than Kendrick, and I compete with Kendrick. We know he's wrong, but we like Glasses Malone, and we like Kendrick, so we're just going to try, everyone said as they sat there. No, man, a terrible podcast. Jada is the voice of reason, as we all know. You must speak up, but once more, Jada most likely doesn't want to annoy Joe. He most likely feels that he doesn't want to engage in these disputes with Fat Joe. I understand how he gets. You guys chose the incorrect employment, and you don't want to irritate Joe. Joe does not wish to cause offense. Jim Jones, since none of you wants to insult Nas, the argument is utterly pointless, and Jim Jones simply gets his way. Is insane. Anyway, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Is Jim Jones comparable to Nas in any way, poetically or commercially? Perhaps you have some facts that I'm not aware of. Top5rapewebsites.com.